friends, long time no see. Sorry I've been MIA. Things have been a little bit nuts behind the scenes, but I just wanted to hop on. I would love to say real quick, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be a lengthy video because I'm going to go into quite a bit of detail. Okay, but I think this is a really important topic because it's one of my most asked questions, whether I'm talking to someone on phone, in the person, or in the YouTube comments, in emails, whatever, is how do I try to replicate a product, or I'm trying to make, say, for example, a conditioner with, and I want argan oil to be the featured thing in my line. I want argan oil shampoos and argan oil conditioners. How do I figure out how much of what to put in the ingredients? Okay, so my first thing is that I usually send people to all the sites with free formulas. I have several videos that have talk about free formulas. I'll link those below. I also have a free audio course when you sign up for my newsletter that you get that will direct you to stuff, and a PDF and so forth. So I won't go into where to get free formulas. And I've talked a little bit how to use them, but I'm going to talk more extensively about how to use them in this video. And I'm going to use an example, okay, of a product that's pretty popular, works well for quite a variation of hairstyles. For any people who do twists or bantu knots or any sort of protective style that involves braiding or cornrowing, a lot of people love this butter. It is the Camille Rose Almond Jai twisting butter. You can see this. And so I decided that I would break that product down for you guys, to help you give you an idea of how to envision creating a similar product. I really discourage people from out and out copying. There's infinite creativity that we can always tap into, but there's nothing wrong with seeking inspiration from another product or from another line or what have you. Okay, so I'll just kind of break down this, and hopefully that'll give you an idea of how to sort of start analyzing a product and using the free information on the internet to move forward. Okay, so let's just say I find this butter, Camille Rose Naturals Almond Jai Twisting Butter with sweet almond milk and honey. Loves curls, coils, and transitioners. And this is kind of interesting because usually a product doesn't work for all three of those people. But according to the reviews, it really does have a lot of positive reviews from a variety of people. So that's kind of interesting. But usually I advise people to pick a niche that's very specific and start within that niche and formulate for that niche. And then when you've kind of got momentum with one niche, you can then expand and say, now we have another line that is for lighter hair textures or for tighter hair textures or for babies or whatever it is you're doing. But I don't start trying to cater to everyone, because usually what happens is you cater to no one, because there is nothing that works for everyone except for water, right? So I'll look at this, and the first thing I would do is look at the ingredients. So when I look at the ingredients, I see deionized water. That's the first ingredient. So we know that the first ingredient is what is most plentiful in the formula, because it goes in, they list them with the most plentiful ingredients first and all the way down to the bottom, which is why fragrance and preservative, which are usually like at about 2% or 1%, is usually at the bottom of the list. So deionized water, bihydramonium methosulfate, cetearyl alcohol, almond milk, so that's kind of water too with a little bit of fat, almond oil, pumpkin seed oil. Now there's a whole bunch of oils. There's like 4 or 5 different oils in a row. Okay, so we know it's really rich in oil. And then it has slippery elm extract. Okay, I have to guess that is a slippery elm in water. Okay, I don't see glycerin in here, so I'm guessing that it's a slippery elm extract that's in water and not in glycerin in water. And then more oil, castor oil, hydrogenated castor oil, which is almost like a jelly, kind of like Vaseline, but made from castor oil. So much better substitute to mineral oil if you ever see that. Aloe leaf juice, another watery product. Honey, there's probably not more than a teaspoon in this whole thing, if that. Green tea extract, I'm guessing that that is also in the deionized water that was in there. It's a watery extract, or she might have just like a little bit in there. And then we have phenoxyethanol, caprylyl glycol, sorbic acid. Those are usually sold together as a preservative that comes as a unit. So I'm guessing that that's what she has in there at 2%. And then it says scent, fragrance oil, and love, which is great. We always want to infuse love into our products. Okay, so we know that this is an infusion because it has both watery things and it has oil. Sorry, it's not an infusion. It's an emulsion because it has watery things and it has oily things. And when we open it, I did try it out. It is a good product. So you can see that it is a very stiff product. I'm holding it upside down, even shaking it a little bit, and it does not budge. Did not move at all, like not even a little bit. Okay, so it's a very, very thick product. So when I look at these ingredients, I think, well, what in it would be that thick? Because she doesn't even have a butter in here. There is no shea butter or cocoa butter, mango butter, anything that's really stiff that would give that level of stiffness in a formula. So what it is the behentrimonium methosulfate and cetearyl alcohol. Those are two that are often sold together too, usually as 50-50. So you'll see BTMS 50 or Cream Maker Cat if you're getting it from Making Cosmetics. Different ingredients companies will call it different things, but it's really the same thing. So it's usually about 50-50 cetearyl alcohol, which is a fatty alcohol, and behentrimonium methosulfate, and it's sort of like a white waxy substance, and they usually sell it in pellets or in flakes to make it easier to measure and transport as opposed to having to cut a brick and measure that. So that's really, 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 really hard. Okay. So in order for us to experience the benefits of that product without just having like a hard waxy thing, which would not absorb in any hair texture, you mix it with water, you mix it with oil, and so forth. But the fact that this, I can hold it upside down and it doesn't move, lets me know that they have quite a bit higher percentage than, say, a conditioner or maybe a cream type thing that's looser, that if you held it upside down it would come out, right? And so this is where the free formulas come in. So you go to your free formulas and you start looking, and you start to look for products that are similar. So you're looking at pomades, you're looking for maybe some deep conditioners, even though this is stiffer than a deep conditioner, but you can at least start getting clues as to kind of what proportions to use, right? So any sort of like hair dressing that's kind of thicker, pomades, those type of things, you look for formulas for that, okay? You also look at the ingredients she used, and you look at the ingredient websites and you see what they say. Like with behentrimonium methosulfate, a lot of places will say use between 2 and 10%, or 2 and 12%. So whatever the highest percentage is for behentrimonium methosulfate, I would start with that percentage because clearly they have a lot of it in here. So I would experiment with that. And then you kind of look at the pomades and you see how much oil they have. Clearly she has a high amount of oils in here. So I would go and look at the percentage of oils they have and start with the highest amount of that. And then whatever is left, I would allow it to be water, and then just allow 4% for fragrance and preservative. And if you're just experimenting, you can skip the fragrance, just do the preservative. And you can start seeing how much water you would use. I would start with a minimum of 10%, maybe go even up to 15% to get the same consistency that's like this thick. I mean, this is almost like a salve, but softer, okay, because it has the water and probably has more oil than most salves have. But salves which are usually beeswax and oil, are kind of hard like this. And when you scrape them, it's soft to the touch. It's soft enough that you can scrape some up. I'll just scrape a little bit off of here. See, like if I go like that, it was very easy for me to take a dab off and put on my skin. And then when you're looking at my skin, I can easily sort of rub it into the skin. And this is all very gentle ingredients. Behentrimonium methosulfate, even though it's a conditioning emulsifier, meaning it combines water and oils and helps you create an emulsion so that it doesn't separate, right? It also has conditioning properties, so it's great for detangling and reducing frizz and so forth, and has really mild cleansing properties too, which is why sometimes you'll see co-washes that have this ingredient in them. So that's how you would start. Now, in terms of how would you make your product different from what she's done? So when I look, one of the key things is to look at the botanicals. You can look at the oils. She has a nice blend of heavy oils and light oils. Say, for example, the hydrogenated castor, like I told you, it's really super thick. It's kind of like Vaseline. Whereas the almond oil and, macadamia nut seed oil, some of those oils are really light. And then she's got some that are sort of medium thick, like olive oil and, pumpkin seed oil. Very rich and nutritious oils, but still easily absorbed and lighter. So she has a perfect balance of light oils and denser oils that really kind of do something with the hair. In terms of moisture, she has the honey. So instead of glycerin, which is a humectant people use often, she's used honey, which I think is really smart and different. So she's made it a little bit more interesting, a little bit more natural sounding, a little bit more elevated. And you only need a little bit of that. If you're using glycerin, you could use a lot more, but with honey, you probably only need a teaspoon. She's made the water fancy. This is what I tell people to do all the time. Don't just use water. You can use tea. The fancy way to say it is aqueous infusion, but it's really just herbs soaked in water, and then the nice properties of those herbs get infused into the water. You strain your herbs, and then you preserve it, and you have an aqueous extract. Okay, the almond milk is probably an aqueous extract of sorts. And I'm sure it's not almond milk that you buy in the store, but she, through a process, has created almond milk and strained it and probably preserved it and added it to this product, or the manufacturer that's making it for her has done that for her. What else is in here? Green tea. That's definitely an aqueous extract. The slippery elm. The green tea is going to help with hair growth and stimulating the scalp. The slippery elm is going to help with slip. Okay, so a lot of times people use things like silicones, okay, which are synthetic oils. Okay, and so silicones give a lot of slip and they give a lot of shine, but they're not natural, and for some people they clog the pores. It's kind of a divided issue or divisive issue in the natural hair community, but some people feel like they clog the pores, so they prefer not to go the silicone route. But you can add slip without using chemicals. So she's added slippery elm, which really is going to give a lot of slip and a little bit of shine, and also it's kind of mushy and makes the hair a little bit moist. So instead of slippery elm, you could use marshmallow root, and you could even use like a flax gel, like a very dilute flax gel that'll also give some slip. Hibiscus is really great for giving some slip in combination with other things. So, you just think creatively. There are lots of things you could add here to make it different from her formula. You could go Ayurvedic and do things like amla. Amla is very conditioning. It helps with hair growth. Bhringraj, Brahmi, all those Ayurvedic herbs help. You could do nettles and oat straw, sort of strengthening. You could do, you could make it fruity. Do cucumber extract and watermelon extract, which are very moisturizing. And by moisturizing, a lot of times people think oils, think actual um, drawing water to the hair shaft. And then you use the oils to trap the water that you draw in. So cucumber and watermelon are great for that. A lot of times you will find them in glycerin. This is probably the more pure form. There is, you can get bioferments of both, but unfortunately I haven't seen any that are preserved with something I would want to use. If you're going to go the manufacturing route and you're going to do this quote unquote bigly, then I would consider having them specially make a fermented extract for you of watermelon, avocado, cucumber, whatever, that is preserved with something a little bit more kosher, right? And you can do that if you're buying at that scale. It makes sense. Bamboo is a nice thing you could add that adds slip, it adds shine, and it'll also add a little bit of structure to that twist out so that, you kind of maintain the integrity that you've shaped your hair into. It's good for that. It also strengthens the hair. So there are lots of things you can do, but it starts with understanding how a product is made. You got to understand how it's made. And so go to these cosmetic websites that I'm always referring to you. A lot of them have articles. We'll have tutorials. We'll have articles that break down the components of a shampoo. So you start to understand, oh, that's what a shampoo is. It's just really thickened soapy water. And a lot of the things that are added to shampoo are really there for aesthetic purposes, okay? Because people don't want a shampoo that's as thin as water that comes out of the bottle. If they know that it'll work, they'll get used to it. But a lot of times people are buying on perception. They want things to be thick. They want things to be shiny. They want things to look a certain way. It could be that you could shake something up and it'll even out, but if there's too much separation visually, sometimes it'll put people off. So there are things that are added to prevent all those things. But really it's just soap and water, and a lot of times it'll wash right off, so there's no point in super nutrifying your shampoo unless you're going to let it sit on your scalp for a long time, which most people don't. They usually do that with conditioner. So I would save extracts and stuff for the conditioner. But these are all things you can figure out yourself if you actually go and you study these websites. The cosmetic ingredient suppliers, they put out as much information to help you as possible because they want you to buy the ingredients and use them successfully, create products people want, so then you can come back and reorder for them. So it helps their business to educate you. So, I would say receive that education with open arms. It's there for you to learn. So there's never an excuse about why we can't move forward. Even if moving forward just means you're learning, okay? Could be maybe you can't afford stuff now. You're learning, Maybe all you can afford now is to buy your jars. Okay, buy your jars. Maybe all you can afford is to, experiment with singular ingredients. I forgot to say that. Experiment with singular ingredients. By that I mean buy an oil, buy one cosmetic ingredient that you think is really intriguing, and just experiment with that at home with a spray bottle with water. Try adding it to your concoctions. Just understand how it works on its own, and then go buy another ingredient. And anyone can do that. There's always a way to move forward. If you feel like you can't afford to do coaching with me, or you can't afford a low-cost ebook either from me or from another teacher on the internet or whatever. But whatever you do, just keep moving forward. I really hope that helps you and that inspires you, and that lets you know that anything is possible. I would like to do a challenge where we look at something. I'm thinking of starting with conditioner because that's something that a lot of people want, and honestly, as far as things are concerned, conditioners and oils are the basis of any sort of really healthy curly hair regimen. Okay, the other things you can get around, you can skate around, but those two things you really do need. So I'll probably be doing 3-day challenges in July, and depending on how people receive those, I might continue those, month to month, and maybe switch out the products that people want to learn about. But the 3-day challenge is designed so that we kind of analyze a product like we've done with this Camille Rose product today, we start figuring out, how to map it out, what ingredients we should use, so that at least you have like kind of a map that you can start experimenting with. It's way easier to start from there than to start from scratch by yourself without even knowing where to look, and it's totally free. So, what do you have to lose? So that is that. I hope this video found you well and that you learned something from it, and that you felt encouraged by it. Please put in the comments below what your favorite product is, and maybe what you'd like to create or replicate in your line. If you've chosen a niche, tell me that. Just tell me what's going on with you and your creation process. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, and please subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you haven't subscribed yet. That would be awesome. All right. Thanks.